after being diagnosed with late-stage cancer. I walked into the local registry office with my report and decided to cancel my household registration in advance. But my police officer father burst in with the rest of the family. Without even looking at the report, he raised his hand and slapped me across the face. My mother, a forensic scientist, sneered and accused me of faking a medical report just to get sympathy. They had no idea that this piece of paper was my death sentence and the beginning of my fight back against this family. When my parents hung up on my call for the 58th time, I clutched the cancer diagnosis report and walked into the household registration office. I calmly said to the officer in front of me, "Hello, I'd like to cancel my household registration." The young officer attending to me froze. His thermos cup stopped midair. He might have handled all sorts of strange requests before, but someone coming in to arrange their own affairs in advance was undoubtedly a first. "Sir, you must be joking, right?" I shook my head and pushed the diagnosis report toward him. I said softly, "I'm not joking. There's something growing in my brain." The doctor said, "I don't have much time left." I pointed to those glaring Latin words. Glioblastoma, grade 4. As a public servant, you should know what this means. It meant an immediate death sentence, with no chance of a reprieve. The young officer's expression instantly grew solemn. He picked up the report and read it word by word, before finally looking up at me, with sympathy and confusion. But just as he was about to speak and persuade me, the door to the registration room was slammed open. My dad rushed in, wearing a sharp police uniform, followed closely by my mom, the chief forensic examiner of the municipal bureau. And right behind them was Jiang Yu, trembling like a frightened little animal. He was Jiang Chung, the family's nominal youngest son. My dad's voice roared with a familiar rage, making the whole hall echo. "What kind of madness are you pulling now?" He stepped right up to me, without even looking at the report on the desk. He immediately raised his hand and slapped me across the face. With a loud, crisp smack, the entire household registration office instantly fell silent. I tasted the copper tang of blood on the corner of my mouth and didn't say a word, because I was already used to this. Wasting police resources just to vie for attention with your brother? Is this what your education taught you? My dad, Jiang Guozheng, reprimanded me righteously, as if I weren't his son, but a criminal he had just captured. My mom, Lu Mei, snatched the medical certificate out of my hand. Her terrifyingly cold eyes scanned it briefly, and then she let out a cold laugh. Forging a medical certificate and faking an illness just to get attention? Jiang Chung, you've really outdone yourself. You've been a compulsive liar since you were a kid, and you haven't changed a bit. She threw the paper that pronounced my death sentence carelessly onto the desk, like discarding a piece of scrap paper. Right then, Jiang Yu's performance began, perfectly on cue. He rushed over with bloodshot eyes, grabbed my parents' hands, and started sobbing. "Mom, Dad, it's all my fault. It's all my fault. If I hadn't wanted to celebrate my birthday, Jiang Chung wouldn't have. I'm sorry, Jian Cheng. I'll never celebrate my birthday again. Please stop lying and tricking Mom and Dad, okay?" His words carried an immense amount of weight. Not only did it frame my breakdown as a cry for attention, but his maturity also highlighted my childish behavior. What's worse, it firmly pinned the label of a liar on me. Sure enough, my parents' expressions grew even darker. My dad pointed at my nose, his hand shaking. "Look at your brother. Are you even half as sensible as he is? Throwing a life-and-death tantrum just over a birthday, and even demanding to cancel your household registration? Who do you think you're threatening?" I ignored their roaring, only feeling a sudden warmth gushing from my nose. I wiped it with my hand. It was bright red. This wasn't faked. It was a real nosebleed. The brain tumor was pressing on my nerves. This is one of the common symptoms. But in their eyes, this was probably just part of my acting. I calmly pulled out a tissue and wiped it clean. Then, right in front of all of them, I stepped up to the police officer again. My voice wasn't loud, but it was clear enough. "Officer, can we start processing it?" The young officer was clearly bewildered by the situation. He looked at me, then at my family behind me, with a very conflicted expression. "Sir, canceling a household registration requires a death certificate," he reminded me in a low voice. I know, I nodded. "So, I'm just here to ask about the procedure and file an application while I'm at it, to declare someone missing. When the time comes, I'll be legally dead." My dad was shaking with rage. He grabbed my collar. "You bastard. My son, Jiang Wei's son, is going to file to be declared missing. You've completely humiliated me." "Captain Jiang," I looked at him calmly. For the first time, I didn't call him Dad. "First of all, I'm 26 years old. and have full legal capacity. Second, I'm filing for myself. It has nothing to do with who you are. Lastly, I suggest you let go. There are surveillance cameras here. My dad's face turned from red to pale. He probably didn't expect that I, who used to be so submissive, would speak like this. My mom, Lu Mei, lived up to her reputation as a forensic doctor. She was always calmer than my dad. She stepped forward, pulled my dad's hand away, and dissected me with a scalpel-like gaze. Jiang Cheng, go home once you've had enough of this tantrum. This medical report you forged is full of loopholes. The typical symptoms of glioblastoma are seizures and intracranial hypertension, a little nosebleed. Are you trying to cosplay a romantic drama male lead? Don't insult my profession. Her words were precise and harsh, just as they always were. In his eyes, all of my suffering was just a theatrical performance. I didn't argue. I just pulled more things out of my backpack and lined them up on the table one by one. My brain CT scans, my MRI images, my pathology biopsy reports, along with the attending physician's signature and the official hospital seal. Mimicking his tone, I spoke politely but distantly. You're a professional. You should understand these better than I do. Could you please verify for me if all of these are forged as well? That thick stack of documents was like a silent slap, hard across Lu Mei's face. His expression finally changed. That calm, always confident look showed cracks for the very first time. He picked up the CT scan, held it up to the light, and his pupils suddenly contracted. My dad also realized something was wrong. He snatched it away. The huge, irregular shadow on the scan looked ominous enough for even a layman to tell. What is this? For the first time, a tremor crept into his voice. A tumor. I answered for him. The doctor said it was found too late, and surgery is no longer an option. Chemo and radiation will only buy me time. If I'm lucky, 6 months. If I'm not, 3 months. I spoke very calmly, as if retelling someone else's story, because the most painful moment had already passed. It passed when they were celebrating Jiang Yu's birthday, and completely ignored my 58 calls for help. It passed when I lay in a hospital bed, all by myself, signing the consent form for the biopsy. My tears had dried up long ago. A dead silence fell over the office. Even Jiang Yu stopped crying. He probably didn't expect me to take things this far this time. Impossible. That's absolutely impossible. My mom muttered to herself, started frantically flipping through the report, trying to find a flaw in it. There must be some mistake. Which hospital? Which doctor? I'm going to ask them directly. It's Director Lee from neurosurgery at the city hospital. Mom, I gave you his name. You have plenty of connections. You can call right now to verify. Lu Mei's hands froze. Director Lee at City Hospital was a leading authority in neurology, and an old acquaintance of hers. Hearing that name completely shattered her last thread of hope. My dad's body swayed, and he leaned against the wall, his eyes vacant. He looked at me, his lips trembling, but couldn't utter a single word. His expression was one of shock and panic, but lacked even a single trace of heartache for me. What they cared about was never whether I would die, but how much trouble this situation would bring into their lives. Officer. I turned back to the stunned police officer. Can we proceed now? He opened his mouth, about to speak, when Jiang Yu suddenly dropped to his knees in front of me. Bro, don't scare me. He hugged my legs, tears streaming down his face like broken pearls. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have asked for that birthday gift. I'll give you whatever you want. Just please don't abandon us. He cried till he was hoarse, looking like I was the villain, abandoning the entire world. I looked down at him. Just yesterday, on his 18th birthday, Mom and Dad rented out the most expensive riverside restaurant for him, while I lay in a hospital awaiting biopsy results. I called them 58 times, and not a single person answered. Later, my mom replied with just one text. It's Yu's birthday. Don't bother us. Now here he is, on his knees, putting on a display of brotherly love. I laughed so hard my chest shook, coughing up a mouthful of blood. The blood splattered onto his crisp white shirt, looking like a mocking plum blossom. Jiang Yu, I bent down, leaning in close to his ear, and whispered softly, haven't you always wanted everything of mine? My room, my computer, my parents' love? Now that I'm about to die, all of it will soon be yours. You should be happy. What are you crying for? Jiang Yu's body froze instantly. He raised his head, and in those tear-filled eyes, the fake sorrow was finally gone, replaced by a flash of sheer terror. My parents finally snapped out of their shock, and the way they handled it was completely on brand for them. My dad, Jiang Weiguo, His first reaction was to control the situation. He rushed to the doorway and shouted at the nosy crowd peeking in. "What are you looking at? Police business, move along." Then he turned around and growled at me in a low voice. "Jiang Chung, come home with me. Whatever it is, we'll talk at home. Do you really have to air our family dirty laundry for everyone to see? Family dirty laundry. So in their eyes, the fact that I'm dying is just family dirty laundry." My mom, Lu Mei, quickly regained her forensic doctor composure. She pulled out her phone, not to call Director Lee, but to call her lawyer friend, Old Wang. "I need to ask you something. My son is insisting on canceling his household registration. In a situation like this, do we as parents have a right to stop him?" "What? No, not unless we can prove he's mentally unstable." Her voice wasn't loud, but every word pricked my ears like a needle. She didn't care about my illness. She was researching how to legally control me. I looked at these two people before me, the ones I called parents, and the last shred of warmth in my heart went completely cold. "I'm not going back." I pulled my hand away from Jiang Yu and stood up straight. "I lost this home a long time ago, ever since the day you brought her back. Jiang Yu is the child of a fallen comrade they brought home 15 years ago. From that day on, my toys, my new clothes, my room, and even my parents' love started being taken away. When Jiang Yu got sick, they stayed up all night with her. But when I had a high fever, they just told me to drink more water. When Jiang Yu failed an exam, they comforted her gently. But when my grades slipped, I got a severe scolding. I used to think that if I was just good enough, I could win back their attention. I got into the best university, joined the best company, and gave them 2/3 of my monthly salary. But I was wrong. All my hard work couldn't compare to a single tear from Jiang Yu. "Jiang Chung, listen to yourself." My dad's sore spot was hit by my words, and his face turned red with anger. "Have we been bad to you? We provided your food and clothes. Now that you've grown wings, you want to settle old scores with us?" "Settle scores? Fine. Let's settle them then." I turned to the young police officer, surnamed Chun. "Officer Chun, I'm sorry. I'm not canceling my household registration anymore. I'm here to report a crime." Everyone froze. Officer Chun looked confused too. "Report a crime? What kind of crime?" From my backpack, I pulled out the very last item, a thick stack of bank statements, and a small account book. "I want to report Jiang Yu for suspected fraud and theft." I pointed at Jiang Yu, who was kneeling on the floor, and said word for word, "Since she was 14, she has been demanding money from me under various pretexts. In the 4 years I've been working, she has taken 200,000 yuan from me. Every single transfer on this statement has its purpose marked by me, and my parents, as his guardians, were not only aware but also condoned it. Doesn't this count as joint fraud?" In addition, I held up a credit card bill. "This is a supplementary card of mine. Last month, he spent 50,000 yuan on it to buy a luxury watch. Does this count as an apology?" My parents' faces instantly turned pale, and Jiang Yu was shaking like a leaf. "Brother, you gave me that money voluntarily, and I thought Mom and Dad agreed to that watch." "Voluntarily?" I sneered. "Didn't every single time come with a threat? As for that watch, you can ask my parents if they knew about it." My dad's lips trembled. Of course he knew. He was the one who took Jiang Yu to buy that watch. Swiping my card, to buy a gift for his favorite youngest son. "Officer Chun," I pushed all the evidence in front of him. "Is this enough to meet the standard for a case?" Officer Chin's expression grew serious. He picked up the bank statement and looked at it carefully. "The amount is huge, and the facts are clear. If this is true, it indeed meets the standard for filing a case." He looked up at my dad. "Zhang Fu." My dad's body completely slumped. The status he was so proud of had now become the shackles judging him. If word got out, his days wearing the police uniform would be over. "Jiang Chung, are you crazy? Do you want to destroy this family with your own hands?" My mother, Lu Mei, finally lost control. She rushed over to grab the evidence, but was stopped by Officer Chun. "Mom, please calm down. These are materials for reporting a crime. I am practically dying, yet all you think about is saving your reputation. He broke the law, and all you want to do is cover up the truth? Tell me, was there ever a place for me in this family?" Lu Mei was left speechless by my questions. His face was ashen. My father, Jiang Wei's eyes, looked as if he had aged 10 years in an instant. He looked at me and asked in a raspy voice, "What do you want?" He finally stopped roaring. Stopped lecturing me, because I had pulled out a weapon that could truly hurt them. It wasn't my illness. It wasn't my life. It was their careers, their reputations. It's simple. I looked at Officer Chun. Either we handle this by the book. I filed a report, you process it. and we see each other in court from here on out. I paused and looked at the three of them. Or we settle this privately. Here's an itemized bill. I patted the little notebook. Ever since college, I pay my own tuition and living expenses. After I started working, I sent 10,000 home every month. 480,000 over 4 years. As for what Jiang Yu took from me, principal and interest come out to 220,000. That adds up to 700,000 in total. Plus, when this apartment was bought, I pitched in 100,000. 800,000 altogether. I stared at them and said each word. With complete clarity, give me 800,000, and I will withdraw the police report, as well as sign an agreement to sever all relations. After that, we are square and we stay out of each other's lives forever. You're committing extortion. My dad quivered with rage, his lips turning purple. No, Captain Jiang, you know the law well. I shook my head. This is called a civil dispute, settled through negotiation. Compared to leaving a criminal record on you and your precious son. This deal is a bargain, isn't it? My mom glared at me intently, her eyes filled with strangeness and terror. She probably never thought that her cowardly, obedient son would confront them using the very methods they knew best. Jiang Yu was already scared out of his mind, hiding behind my parents, not even daring to cry out loud. We don't have that much money, my mom managed to choke out. No money, Mom? Stop joking. I know exactly what your salary levels are. With the family savings and your bonus from last month. Is it really that hard to come up with 800,000? Yes, I know everything. Over the years, they never bothered to avoid talking about things in front of me, because they thought I was brainless and didn't care, but I quietly noted down everything. All of this has become my bargaining chip today. Lu Mei's face completely changed. She knew I wasn't bluffing. I had truly calculated everything. The atmosphere in the household registration office froze to a breaking point. Officer Chun stood to the side holding my documents, looking serious. Just then, an unexpected person appeared. Sis, brother-in-law, what are you doing here? The door to the household registration office was pushed open again, and a middle-aged man wearing a jacket burst in. It was my uncle Lu Jian, my mom's younger brother. He was also stunned when he saw the situation inside. When his gaze fell upon my pale face, his expression instantly changed. Chung, what happened to you? Who hit you? He rushed over to me in a few quick strides, then looked up and yelled at my dad. Jiang Weigua, you laid hands on him again? Think you're a big man now, beating your son right inside a police station. My dad's face turned red and white, unable to say a word. My uncle was the only person in this family who gave me any warmth. I spoke up, my voice a bit raspy. Don't be afraid. Chung, Uncle is here. He patted my back, his broad palm bringing a sense of reassuring strength. I shook my head and handed him the diagnosis report. My uncle took it in confusion, and, with just one look, he froze on the spot as if struck by lightning. What is this? His voice shook terribly, and his eyes instantly turned red. This is impossible. Chung, did they make a mistake? Before I could speak, my mom, Lu Mei, spoke up coldly. Lu Jian, this is a family matter. Don't interfere in our family matters. My uncle snapped his head around, like an enraged lion. Liu Mei, look at this report. Is this just a family matter? This is a human life. Your son is dying, and you're fucking talking to me about family matters? He slammed the report right into my mom's face. Let me ask you, did you even know Chung was sick? He's skin and bones. Are you guys blind? Where were you when he called me? When he went to have surgery all by himself? Where were you then? You were celebrating that ungrateful wolf's birthday, weren't you? Uncle's rapid-fire questions were like heavy sledgehammers, completely smashing away their last shred of decency. My mom's lips trembled, unable to utter a single word of defense. My dad kept his head down, not daring to look Uncle in the eye. Uncle looked at the two of them, his face filled with utter disappointment. He turned around, held my shoulders, and said word for word, Chung, come with your uncle. Forget about this family. What they owe you, your uncle will help you get it back. Uncle's arrival completely broke the deadlock. He stood behind me like a protective guardian deity. Not a single penny less than 800,000. Uncle looked at my parents, his gaze as cold as ice. I'll give you one day. Otherwise, these documents will end up at the disciplinary committee and on the desks of your respective agency bosses. Lu Jian, how dare you? My dad roared, trying to hide his weakness. Just watch me. Uncle sneered. Jiang Weigua, don't forget who helped you get promoted back then. Before my dad passed away, he told you to take good care of my sister and take care of our family. Is this how you take care of them? Can you face him with a clear conscience? My dad's face completely lost all color. My grandfather used to be the chief of the municipal bureau. So uncle's words truly struck right at my dad's Achilles heel. And as for you, Lu Mei, my uncle turned to my mom, his eyes filled with a deep, consuming sorrow. I'm truly ashamed of you. Do you even deserve to be called a mother? Have you forgotten how Chung Chung had a high fever when he was little, and you held him all night long? Or is it that, ever since you brought that curse into this house 15 years ago, you completely forgot you already had a biological son? The word curse was like a bolt of lightning, striking everyone in the room. My mom's body began to shake violently. What absolute nonsense are you talking? Jiang Yu's face instantly turned pale. He hid behind my parents, his eyes filled with malice and terror. My heart skipped a beat. I knew my parents favored Jiang Yu, but I never knew there was a hidden story behind it all. Nonsense? Do you want me to expose everything that happened back then? Jiang Weigua, how exactly did your partner die? Did he really sacrifice himself heroically just to save you? All these years, you've been pampering his son like he's your own father. Is it out of guilt, or are you trying to keep someone quiet? My dad snapped his head up, a look of unprecedented terror in his eyes. Lu Jian, shut up. What, are you scared? Scared I'll tell the truth? Scared I'll expose that your mistreatment of Chung Chung all these years wasn't just favoritism, but deliberate abuse. The sheer volume of information was overwhelming, and I couldn't process it for a moment. A partner's sacrifice, and the truth, these words combined, pointed toward a dark secret. My mom rushed forward, her voice shrill. Enough. Lu Jian, shut your mouth. Why shouldn't I bring it up? Because you have a guilty conscience. My uncle shook off her hand. Because you took the debt you owed to a dead man and shifted it entirely onto my nephew. You used everything that belonged to him to pay off your ridiculous debt. You guys don't deserve to be called human beings. My uncle's words were like a key, instantly unlocking all the doubts in my mind. Why did they treat Jiang Yu so well? So what was pathological? Why did they treat me so poorly? So poorly it was cold-blooded? It turned out it wasn't because they couldn't love, but because in their minds, my life was borrowed on a debt. Jiang Yu's father traded his life for my dad's life. So they wanted to use my entire life to pay it back. They saw me as a symbol carrying original sin. My very existence constantly reminded them of that past, of how ridiculous and how tragically pathetic the truth was. Looking at the three ash-faced people in front of me, I suddenly found everything completely meaningless. All my hatred and resentment dissipated at this moment, leaving me with nothing but endless exhaustion. Uncle, let's go. I tugged at his sleeve and said softly, I don't want to look at them anymore. I just want to walk my final path in peace. My uncle took a deep breath, nodded, and helped me turn around to leave. When we reached the door, I stopped and looked back. My dad was slumped in his chair, like a soulless clay statue. My mom leaned against the wall, tears streaming down her face, yet she couldn't make a single sound. As for Jiang Yu, he was glaring at me with an incredibly venomous look. I forced a smile at him, and then, without looking back, I walked out of that living hell. My uncle and I went back to his place. My aunt was startled when she saw me, and her eyes welled up with tears immediately. My uncle's place wasn't big, but it was very cozy. My aunt cleared out a guest room for me, which smelled of fresh sunshine. For the first time in my 26 years, I felt the warmth of a real home. That evening, my uncle called me into his study. Chung Chung, did you hear everything about what happened back then? I nodded. Do you want to know the whole truth? I looked at him and shook my head. Uncle was stunned. You don't want to know? It's all in the past. Whatever the truth is, it has nothing to do with me anymore. Yeah, I don't want to know. Because no matter what the truth is, it won't change the fact that they owe me. I am their son, not a tool for their redemption. Uncle looked at me, his eyes full of heartbreak. Chung Chung, you've grown up. You've suffered, he choked up. It's my fault for being useless and not bringing you out sooner. I don't blame you, Uncle. I smiled slightly. You've already done enough for me. Over the years, you were the only one who remembered to give me red envelopes. The first allowance I got for college came from you. I'll always cherish your kindness. Don't worry about the money. Uncle said, if they don't give it to me tomorrow, I'll risk my reputation to ruin them. Don't do it for me. This isn't just for you. Uncle interrupted me. I can't just stand by and watch them go down this dark path forever. That night, I slept soundly, as if making up for the sense of security I lacked. over the past 26 years, all at once. The next morning, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I answered it, and my mother's tired, raspy voice came through. "We have the money ready. Send over your card number." "No need," I said. "I don't want any further contact with you. Just transfer the money directly to Uncle." Without waiting for her response, I hung up the phone. Half an hour later, Uncle received a text confirming the deposit. 800,000, not a penny less. In the end, they chose to compromise, using money to buy back their reputation and future. That works too. I'll leave this money for my uncle and aunt's retirement and donate the rest in my uncle's name to a brain tumor foundation. My life can't be saved anymore, but maybe this money can save even more unfortunate children. That afternoon, my uncle accompanied me to the hospital. Director Lee looked at my chart, sighed, and said, "Young man, you need to prepare yourself mentally. Your condition is not good at all. Surgery wouldn't do much good." "I know, Director Lee. I want to be admitted. I'll spend the rest of my time here." Director Lee looked at me, a flicker of admiration in his eyes. "Very well. We'll do our best to ease your pain." While completing the admission process, I spotted a familiar figure. It was Jiang Yu, lurking suspiciously in a corner. Seeing me, his eyes darted away, and he turned, trying to run off. I stopped him. "Jiang Yu." His body stiffened, and he froze in his tracks. Not daring to look at me, he asked, "What are you doing here?" He stammered, taking ages to pull out a bank card. This is the treatment money Mom and Dad gave you." I looked at the card and scoffed. "Treatment money? Do they feel that 800,000 wasn't enough to buy out our relation, so they want to use more money to buy back their conscience as parents?" "No, bro, Mom and Dad, they know they were wrong. They regret it." I cut him off. "They don't regret treating me badly. They regret not keeping a tighter leash on me, allowing me to escape their control. Jiang Yu, go back and tell them I don't want their money, and they can forget about buying back a conscience. From now on, we're strangers." I walked past him to leave, but he suddenly rushed forward and grabbed my arm. "Bro." He looked up, a twisted expression appearing on his face for the first time. "Do you think you've won? Do you think that taking the money and leaving gives you closure? Let me tell you, Jiang Cheng, you're wrong. You're going to die very soon, while I'm going to live a great life. I'll use their money, stay in your room, and drive your car. Once you're dead, they'll completely forget about you. With me as their only son left, they'll pamper me and love me even more than before." His voice was sharp and malicious. Looking at him, I didn't feel angry at all. I just thought he was pathetic, a parasite who could only survive by diluting the love meant for someone else. A wretched soul forever living in another shadow. "Are you done?" I asked calmly. He froze. I pulled my hand away, patted his shoulder, and said, "If you're done, get lost. Stop being an eyesore." I stayed in the hospital. My uncle and aunt visited me every day, and my cousin even took leave from school to tell me fun stories. My body grew weaker day by day, but my heart was calmer and more at peace than it had ever been. I started keeping a diary, recording the few moments of happiness in my brief life. It turned out my life wasn't entirely pitch black after all. Those glimmers of light were just too faint, overshadowed by deep, heavy dark clouds. I drew up a will. My savings would go to my cousin for her dowry, my books donated to kids in the mountain villages, and the novel on my computer sent to a friend to upload online for me. I even picked out my own burial plot on a sunny hillside, overlooking the warm lights of 1,000 homes. Everything was arranged to perfection, like a traveler about to set off on a long journey. I was ready to step forward with peace and grace. During this time, Jiang Weigua and Lu Mei came once. They stood at the doorway of my ward, loaded down with bags, fidgeting nervously. It was my uncle who blocked them outside. "What are you two doing here? Coming to see if he's dead yet?" My uncle's voice didn't hold a shred of politeness. "Lu Jian, we just wanted to see him," my dad said, his voice brimming with exhaustion. "No need," I spoke up. From the moment I walked out of that registry office, we were completely done. "Just leave, Jiang Cheng. Do you really hate us that much?" My mom's voice carried a sob. "I wouldn't even call it hate anymore. Hate takes energy, and I don't have any energy left." "I don't hate you," I said. "I just don't want to see you ever again. Just your presence makes it hard for me to breathe." A long silence followed outside the door. Then their footsteps gradually faded away. That night, I had a dream. In the dream, I went back to my childhood. My dad carried me on his shoulders, and my mom held my hand. They smiled and called my name, Chung Chung, Chung Chung. I ran toward them, laughing. Then I woke up. My pillow was soaked with tears. My condition deteriorated rapidly. In those final few days, I could no longer speak, nor could I see clearly. The entire world became a blur of light and shadow. My uncle and aunt stayed by my side the whole time, holding my hand. I could feel their warmth, but couldn't respond. My consciousness was sinking bit by bit into a dark ocean. Before completely losing consciousness, I thought I saw them again. Jiang Weigua and Lu Mei were standing by my hospital bed. They seemed so far away, yet so close. Jiang Weigua's back was hunched, and his hair was mostly white. Lu Mei wasn't crying. She just stared at me quietly, with a complex emotion in her eyes that I couldn't understand. Was it a hallucination, or did they really come? I didn't know, and I didn't care to know anymore. Using the very last ounce of my strength, I twitched the corner of my mouth. I think I smiled. Goodbye, Dad. Goodbye, Mom. Goodbye, world. If there's a next life, my only wish is to be born into an ordinary but warm family, with a dad who will carry me on his shoulders, and a mom who will teach me how to write. That would be enough. Narrator's POV. Jiang Cheng passed away peacefully one early morning. He left this world with a smile on his face. His funeral was very simple. Jiang Weigua and Lu Mei did not show up. It wasn't that they didn't want to come, but that they couldn't. During Jiang Cheng's second month in the hospital, everything that had happened in the registry office that day was reported to the Discipline Inspection Commission. The commission stepped in to investigate. Although they found no corruption or bribery, the stigma of having an unprincipled household was firmly pinned on him. He was suspended from his duties, faced internal disciplinary action, and his political career came to an end. Lu Mei didn't have it easy either, failing to recognize her own son's medical records, and even accusing him of forging them, made her a laughingstock in the forensic science community. She was reassigned away from her core position and became sidelined. Everything they were once proud of vanished overnight, and the culprit behind all of this was none other than their beloved Jiang Yu. After Jiang Cheng cut ties with them, Jiang Yu became even more reckless. He flaunted the car Jiang Cheng left behind around town and squandered money squalidly. Upon learning that his parents had been disciplined, his immediate reaction was absolute fury, roaring at them for not covering the matter up and causing him to lose his source of income. On that day, Jiang Weigua looked at the son he had doted on for 15 years and finally delivered a slap that was years overdue. They finally saw clearly that the person they raised was an ungrateful ingrate. They kicked him out of the house. The boy on whom they had once poured all their love and guilt ultimately became a shameful stain on their lives. A year later, at a cemetery in the suburbs, Lu Jian brought his family to visit Jiang Cheng. On the tombstone was a photo of a young Jiang Cheng with a faint smile. Currently, a bundle of fresh daisies sat in front of the tombstone. They left them here again. Aunt sighed. Over the past year, they would always see fresh flowers in front of the tombstone. They knew who brought them, though they had never run into them in person. Just let them be, Lu Jian said. Death wipes the slate clean. Cheng Cheng is finally at peace, but their own hell has only just begun. He was right. Jiang Wei's and Lu Mei sold their home and moved into an old residential compound. They cut off all contact with everyone, living like an isolated island. As for their only remaining son, Jiang Yu, after being kicked out, he got hooked on gambling and sank deep into debt. Not long ago, he was sentenced to 10 years for participating in a robbery. Their once model family had completely fallen apart. This was the price they paid for their own choices. Brother, I came to see you. My cousin placed an essay collection in front of the tombstone. This is your novel. I helped you get it published. It didn't sell very well, but it fulfilled one of your wishes. As she spoke, her tears began to fall. Brother, we all miss you so much. Lu Jian stepped forward and took a newspaper clipping out of his pocket. In the corner of the newspaper was a news report. Starlight Brain Tumor Relief Foundation successfully helps its 100th patient. Lu Jian pointed at the report and smiled at the tombstone with comfort. Cheng Cheng, do you see this? The money you left behind has already saved 100 children. You didn't leave us. You're just living in this world in a different way. Your life had so much more value and meaning than your parents. The mountain breeze blew through, rustling the pine trees in waves, like the gentle response of the boy who had gone far away. He was here, he loved, and he fought back. He was like a shooting star, though brief. As it streaked across the sky, it burned with the most dazzling light. His life should not be defined as a tragedy. It was a magnificent self-redemption of freedom and dignity.